This week in Hey the Parents, we're talking about the countdown to high school and how for parents it suddenly feels like everything starts speeding up at once. 1 minute your kid's figuring out middle school lockers, and the next you're hearing about transcripts, course loads, SATs, clubs, guidance counselors, and realizing that high school is somehow becoming the beginning of the future. But beyond all the pressures and planning, we started asking ourselves a bigger question. How do we help our kids not just survive high school, but actually have a really good experience while they're there? We're talking about what parents should know going in, what actually matters, and how to balance preparation without turning 4 important years into one giant stress test. Because high school shouldn't be about building a resume. It should also be about becoming a person. Every week, it's an honest discussion about raising kids. I'm Michael Height.
I'm Sarah D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
And this is Hey the Parents.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again.
What's up?
Good morning. What's up?
We are back.
What's up Sunday morning?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night was it felt very recent.
It felt very recent.
Well, welcome back. We're so glad that you guys are here to hang out with us as we continue season 5 of Hey the Parents. For our regular listeners, you already know the deal. You know what you're in for. And for anyone joining us for the first time, welcome to Hey the Parents, a parenting podcast where we have an honest conversation each week about raising kids, the good, the messy, the stressful, and everything in between. Every episode we take a different parenting topic and we just try to figure things out together in real time. So with that said, let's jump into this week's episode. Sarah D, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about getting ready for high school, like the practical side.
Man, it's real. It's happening. It's like being on the tracks of the train. Can't get off now.
I still have 2 more years. Oh, thank God.
You know what? You basically, would you just explain, Mike Levine? Yeah. He just explained like that when you take a train to the city, and then there's the express, and then there's the local, and the local stops at every single stop along the way, and it takes forever to get there. So it's a different feeling.
I know. I'm scared. I don't know.
And Sarah D, she already got to the city. She's there.
Yes, I'm there. I'm living it. Junior year, man. Crazy.
Junior year. Wow.
Oh my God. She's almost out of high school into college.
College. It's well crazy. They say high school is like the quickest 4 years. It truly is, because next year's senior year, and Sophia keeps counting down about how she's going to be out of the house soon. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's weird.
Isn't it weird how like you say, and I felt it too, and you're absolutely right. Like, you know, saying she's almost done, but it's weird that we say that junior year, you're only halfway through. There's still another complete half. But like it sounds so different, doesn't it?
Yes, because I mean, it's set. Like when you think about it, junior year, like your transcript is basically done, and it's like next year there's not much more to do.
It's already the damage is done, or the good is already there, or the
Now it's just vibes, like
I know we're gonna get Sarah all emotional. You're like, hold on.
But I want to know how it feels. Like, how does it feel like to, like, Mike, you have a son going into high school, and Sarah, you have a kid almost finishing high school. So it's like, I don't know, what's it feel like to have a high school person living in your house?
I'll tell you one thing. By the size of my 13-year-old, I will say that I don't think our house is big enough for 3 of those. My wife and I don't know. I know. It's wild. He's huge. He's almost bigger than I am now. I don't know. It's weird. Like in some ways, I think I'm like too far into the weeds to actually step back and actually think about it in some ways. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it is like, I think I'm kind of having like a weird fake experience in a way, because like the middle school and high school where we live, they're kind of like attached by like a bridge. Like there's like a, on the second floor, there's like classrooms and stuff where they attach each other. And the kids sometimes go to the high school like for orchestra and stuff. It doesn't, but that's only just a physical geographical situation. But in some ways, that kind of lessens the feeling of like a new building, a new place in some ways. But it's really wild. Like, I don't know. It's very weird to see it. Like, in some ways, our oldest guy is like very mature, and I think because he looks older, and we just kind of like treat him like he's older. But I don't know. It's like, I'm sure, like, you know, when we do orientation and all that stuff, it'll really sink in. I'll be like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is real.
You know what else is really weird? I mean, obviously don't have a child yet in high school, but it's just my son is in middle school. Also, he's getting pretty tall, and it's just weird having like another person like almost your height that is your child, like.
Yes.
You know,
Sarah's like, I don't want to talk about this because that happened a few years ago.
You know, because like, I don't know. I still envision. I'm in the elementary young headspace, right? So, you know, me being taller and bigger than my children, I'm like, okay, this feels right. I'm a parent, you're a child, you know. But now, these little, you know, gremlins have grown taller than me.
Right.
So it's weird. I don't know.
The crazy feeling is, I mean, I'm only 5 feet, so it didn't take that much time for the kid to surpass me. But it's like the day that you turn around and you're looking them like straight in the face, and you're like, wait, whoa, like this is weird.
Yeah, this is weird.
And now like Julian's like bending down to hug me, and I'm like, oh my god,
Like, when did that happen?
When are these grown people invade my house?
Is everyone sit down?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Does it seem almost like challenging in a way? Like it's like you know, you were like, you know, that you are the, you know, the king and queen of your house, and now it's like, oh, there's the prince and the princess has risen to take your throne.
Right. It feels like
you just made a very interesting and compelling story. I like it. It's
weird. It's funny. It's just cool, you know?
Well, I mean, like, so with you guys, like, what is your mindset like now that, like, because now, Levine, you have a child in middle school. Mike, you have a child leaving middle school. Have you guys started thinking about how their academics now are affecting their high school course load?
Good question. Like it's a good question, because I feel like what's so wild is like everyone. It feels like so many schools these days want to like crank things up to like, you know, 80 miles per hour and like get the Regents classes in 8th grade, or get that, you know, get the high school classes early. So like in some ways, like, yeah, the part that I think is definitely the biggest thing that kind of rides on my mind is like, I know how I'm gonna say it out loud, you guys are gonna be like, oh, shocking. I know like how like much I'm all over the place and might change my mind. So I remember like, you know, going into high school and like, you know, your parents are like, or relatives are like, oh, I could see you doing this, or I could see you doing that. And then in your brain, you're kind of like, yep, I'm going to be an accountant, or yep, I'm going to go into business, or yep, I'm going to go into music, or yep, you know, you have these like mentalities where you're kind of like going in with this thought, or like, I don't know what I want to do, you know, when I grow up. And you kind of like have this thing with it could change like every season, you know, of like what you want to be, or what you want to go into, or what, you know, what you want your life to be like. And like when I look at my kids, I'm like, you know, Jacob is so funny because he's so set on wanting to do this music thing, which I think is awesome, and I don't want to like break his hopes and dreams, but he puts in the effort, he puts in the hours, and like part of me is like, man, I get so nervous about him like kind of pigeonholing himself into like one possible idea, where like as he kind of goes through, he's kind of only thinking about that, but he keeps his grades up, he's working hard and all that good stuff. But like then like when you get to all these different crossroads of like, here's a class or something you could take to kind of grow or expand, or like kind of like, you know, keep your options open and stuff. I don't want him to shy away from those because he only has one focus. You know what I mean? So like if all of a sudden in like, you know, junior year, he's like, you know what? I like music as a hobby. I think I want to be going into something in like a math related field. I'm like, well, you did really well, but you didn't take any classes that would support that. You only took like music theory and things like that, which is also probably important if you want to do that other side, you know? So that's the part that kind of sticks in the back of my mind of like, you know, how to not destroy your kids' hopes and dreams while also keeping their options open.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that's the whole point of high school is, and middle school, if they have like electives, is to explore, like, like to try all the different courses, to do like the home and career stuff, to do something a little more academic, like a geography class, like, or an extra like psychology or sociology, like to try different things, I think that's like the time to do all that,
It's kind of like hitting up like if you never had Indian food before, you could go to a restaurant or you go to the buffet. You go to the buffet, you get to try a little bit of everything, and you're like, oh, I do like the tikka masala because the butter chicken's pretty good, but this is where it's at, and you wouldn't know that, I'm not sure why. I have to make it related to food somehow to make my brain understand it.
It's so hard because I've talked to my kids about like when they get older, what they want to be, and like your options of like what you're interested in. And right now my kids have like their I guess kid dreams where they want to be a basketball player or they want to be, and as realistic as those dreams can be, I mean as not realistic as high reaching, exciting. High reaching as those dreams could be, you also have to be realistic at times and know like what you're capable of and what you're what you want to do and things like that. So I try not to crush their dreams, but also encourage them. So
crush and encourage somewhere in the middle.
Like if you want to be a basketball player, for the NBA, all right, you got to move off the couch and like practice every day,
Right. And you might have to grow a couple of feet, but
yes, grow a couple
of
feet,
small requirements, like be good at basketball and also be tall.
Tomato.
So I kind of like the fact that we can all still dream down here, but I also in elementary school, but I also try to make them realize like the toughness of getting older and taking on different challenges and things like that. For instance, my son came home and he's like, oh, in New York we have like state tests, and he's like, Dad, all my friends are opting out of the test. I'm going to opt out of the state test. And I'm like, what?
You're like, oh, you're deciding things now? So that's cool.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, everybody's doing it. I said, no, that doesn't, you're taking the state test. He's like, why, Dad? It doesn't mean anything, whatever. I'm like, Lucas, it's not about taking the test. I said, it's not about what the test gives you or whatever. The whole point of taking the test is to prepare you for your challenges in life that you will face. For instance, like if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you go to college, you're going to have to take a test to be that doctor or that lawyer. And many times in your life, you are challenged or tested in some way. It may not be on paper. It may not be, questions, but this taking these state tests, the only reason I like them personally is because it's like an appropriate challenge for stress level, anxiety, and things to kind of handle, and say, hey, I could get through this. I could push through this. I could do this, and kind of build that resilience and toughness for all the bigger challenges that they will face in their life. And I tried to, with high school, it's like that's another challenge for Lucas that's going to come, or for Elliot or for Hayden. And I think all these little things in their life will prepare them for, high school and the tests that they have to take and figuring out what they want to do with their life. These are all just, steps in the right direction, I think,
Yeah,
well,
so
thanks, Danny Tanner. I mean,
Danny Tanner. Yeah, I think.
That was like, I love how you made a test taking. Like,
like, trust me, I hate tests. I hate tests, but
you just gather, taking your son and sitting him down, having like that son and father conversation.
Yeah, I know. It's
I can't get Bob Saget out of my head.
Was there like music that played in the background too? And like
I know,
it's just like and that's the thing. It's like it's challenge. Parenting is so challenging because you every day is a new challenge. You don't know what's going to happen, And then you don't even know what to say, right? Like, you don't know what your kid's going to come through the door with, of what happened to them. And then when they do, you're like, oh, shoot, what are they going to say? You know?
Danny Tanner wouldn't curse. Bob Saget would, but Danny Tanner wouldn't.
Forrest Gump also said.
Yes.
But the thing is that, like, so test taking is really important, you know, like, I think for the kids to do, because I used to be like really kind of like anti the test, and then like probably by just middle school I was like, she might need to do that because eventually she's gonna take regents and she's got to get that brain kind of going. You know, but like middle school is like that time to help kids to like learn and like how to study and to fail, because like once you go to high school, everything, like at least in New York State, for better for worse, most kids are kind of just going through like this, like really no summer school. Like you go to 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then all of a sudden you're in 9th grade, and everything really does matter. So like, you know, like they have to learn how to like study and like organize themselves and stuff like that, and like where to kind of like discover themselves at the same time.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's why, like, when you ask me like what's my mindset for high school, like that's my mindset for my kids, is like keep challenging yourself, keep pushing yourself, because when you get to high school, that's when things matter, you know, and you got to have everything ready to go for your options, whether you want to go to college, you want to, you know, explore, I don't know, military, you want to explore whatever you want to explore after college. That's, you know, I mean, after high school, you know, at 18, that's your choice, you know, which is also really weird because you don't have a say in what they do anymore. But as a parent, I mean, you know, now you're just a council member. Like whatever your opinion is, they decide to do with it, you know. But it's like, it's crazy. So
it is kind of wild because I think, like, you know, the things that I noticed, like, you know, kind of my experience with my sister and I, is she was like all about, you know, I think my parents were very like control. They had a lot of like, you know, like the rules and control. So she felt the need to kind of rebel. First one, you know, got to test it all. But she didn't do so well grade wise in high school. She had really limited choices in college, and she went to some small school upstate New York, and it was fine. It was actually good for her because she was like, this place is kind of terrible. I want to go somewhere else. I want to transfer. And she figured out like how to really work hard. And then she really learned how to study. She worked really hard. She earned every little piece. And I just think that I was kind of good at memorizing when I was in high school. So I got to college and it was really hard for me. So like, I feel like the kids who really succeed later aren't necessarily the quote unquote smartest that could memorize or whatever else. They're the ones that learn the system and learn how to study and take the time to like really, you know, get those hard work skills kind of as part of them. And I think that's the kind of the thing that I think people kind of like, I don't know. I think going in, you know, that your kids or the people around you, they're like, oh, that's a smart kid. That's this kid or that kid. But I don't. Yeah. It doesn't seem to last. It seems like that, you know, they all have to kind of find their way and kind of learn how to learn, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. No, and then I think like you know, like at least in New York State, like kids can start taking, like Mike was saying, like the schools like want to crank up like the high school credit courses. So like you could take like science or a math course that's gonna go on your transcript. Language is on your transcript. So like middle school nowadays, when you think about it, you're already starting your high school transcript, which is crazy. You know?
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
like,
the thing about it is like how like these kids are like doing all these things, and I guess like, you know, high school is like learn to manage things and like having systems and like, you know, we talked about like calendars and family calendars and things like that. Like, I guess like, do you feel like, because I know you're not the spokesperson for all kids in high school, Sarah, but like when it comes to like things like that, like when they have like a big project coming up or like something that, you know, like something that would last them like a week that's due at the end of the week, or something that's due the following week, it's a big project that like either a big essay or something, whatever it is. Do you find yourself like dipping in, dipping out? Like how do you, if you see that if you see things are going not in a great direction, like where do you see yourself in the process?
Well, I think what we did with Sophia for the first 2 years, and like I think, okay, so it goes back to like all that foundational stuff from when she was younger, like teaching her how to kind of like plan ahead, just having like those honest conversations about what's going on in classes. And like, you know, like at the end of the week being like, okay, is there anything we need to work on? Is there like, okay, like this is what we have planned for this week. Is there a project coming up? But I definitely felt like the first 2 years of Sophia's high school, I was definitely a lot more involved with helping her with her long-term projects, like looking things over with her, making sure like she's looking at the expectation sheet or the rubric and be like, okay, do you have all these things? And this year has been wonderful because I have been less involved, and it feels great because like now she has all those skills. And like you think like, oh my God, high school, like you should really give them more independence. Like you should, absolutely. Because you're not like sitting down doing all the homework with them like how they used to. And like she does it in her own, like in her room and, you know, or at school or on the bus or whatever, you know, wherever she's getting her homework done. And but so I would definitely encourage parents, like, you know, obviously you have to like let go of the reins. You can't be like on top of every single thing. But you know, if the kids are asking you for help, you know, like if your child's like, hey, I need help with this project, like help them, you know, because I think
what a concept.
Yeah, you know, because I think now junior year, I've been less like hands-on, less like everything. I've, you know, like she doesn't even like ask for help, which is, you know, good. I just think I'm hoping. So let's see what happens, listeners. So, dear listeners, like I'm hoping when she goes to college now, she'll be better set because she's gotten guidance from me, you know, and from Jean, you know, but like I'm the one, like, to be honest, like I'm the one who's like home to do all that kind of stuff with them. So I'm just hoping that this pays off, you know?
Yeah.
That's at least that's what I'm telling myself. I'm not like enabling my child, you know, that I have gotten all these A's in all these classes for myself. Like,
yeah, right. Like, didn't you love the help I gave you on this amazing paper? And look at the results.
Right. Look at that.
That's wild.
I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just, yeah, like, you know, like they have to learn to advocate. And that's a big thing too, is like, did you talk to your teacher? Ask your teacher for help. Go to extra help. Go to your guidance counselor. Do you have a connection with a dean or assistant principal? Like those are your, you know, adults in the building that you need to, or your coach. Like, is there someone you can ask for help? You know,
wild though when they're vehemently against that. Like they think like they don't, like sometimes when they think they don't need to jump in and ask for help until like it's really bad, quote unquote. Like like that's where you're like, it's hard to like, you don't want to drag them over the finish line, but it's kind of like you almost, it's like when you see the possibility of like problems that could be solved a little bit ahead of time, you kind of like that. I'm finding that I'm struggling with is like communicating before you have to try to work out a solution.
Repair.
Yeah. Where you're, what do you say, Sarah? It was like triage or something.
Oh yeah, like the triage. Yep.
Yeah.
When you go in, just like triaging things, like I think that's a big thing too, is like teaching them to advocate, and like when they're bringing up a problem, whether it's like a personality issue with a teacher or like an assignment or quiz or test situation, you know, I always say, do you want me to email or are you going to handle it? You know, and it's like, I'll handle it. Okay. And then like in the morning, I'm like texting, like, don't forget to ask, to say, or to do, you know. Sometimes I'll even like give a text, like say something like this, you know, because sometimes it's a little forceful. So I'm like, you know, let's use nice words.
Right.
You know what's also pretty funny? You know what's pretty funny? I don't know if you guys find this, but it's like you try to like make them so independent, right? Because it's like by making them independent, great. It helps them. It helps you, right? You don't have to like be on top of them so much and like, is everything okay? But at the same time, you don't want them to be independent because you want them to need you. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you find that too? It's just weird.
Yeah. No, I told you guys I had like, I think it was like last summer or the summer before. Like I was having a really hard time because it felt like, I'm like, no one needs me. Nope. Okay. Cool.
Right. Yeah. Like, you want to go for coffee? You want to talk about things? You want to sit in the car? You want no?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, but like you don't need me to make breakfast. Like you don't need me. Like everyone's still sleeping at 9 a.m. And I'm like, wow. All right. Like
I guess I'll make myself a really fancy breakfast.
Right. I'm like, I'm bored. Like, and like you die for those moments when they're little and you're like in the thick of it. But when you get older, like
And they're in high school and they're just like doing everything on their own. And
Yeah,
they're like, Dad, I'll see you at 9 tonight. I'm like, okay. You know?
All right, like, yes, I gotta find a hobby.
Right. Oh, that's wild.
Find some things. Anyways,
Well,
I digress.
That's wild. Speaking of hobbies, one of the things I thought we maybe worth we had some conversations with people, and we were talking offline with that's not so businessy meeting. We were talking offline about this idea of like how there's so much going on in high school that's like not the academic part of it, or specifically
Correct.
like the math, science, social studies, English, world language stuff. So like this idea of like encouraging them to take those other classes or do clubs and stuff. Sometimes like kids around them are like, oh, well, I went to this club for 4 days, but then I joined this club and I'm now in the thespian society and I'm in the robotics club and I'm in journalism.
Right.
So it's like they could have the mentality of just like collecting things like Pokemons instead of like actually experiencing the clubs and really getting into it. So like I kind of feel like one of the things that's such a shift is like, I think like when we were in high school, it was like, how do we get the best possible resume possible? So we're going to go to the Key Club. We're going to go to this. So Young Future Business Leaders of America. I'm like, what did I go twice? But the thing is like, I feel like to actually have something and like get the most out of it is like being committed long enough to actually grow and like get something out of it or really decide, do I like this thing or not like this thing? And I think like it's more about what a concept. People listening at home, I have an idea. We could say this word: quality over quantity. I mean, hey, I should just pat myself on the back. Isn't that nice? Right. No, I mean, obviously, like it's like one of those things that you say it out loud. It's so obvious, right? But I feel like it's so easy to say, no, I didn't like it. And then you like maybe go a second time or third time.
Right. Yeah, no, I think, because again, like colleges are looking at all your extracurriculars as well. So like you do want to go to like at least have one or two college clubs. Sorry, I spoke. One or two clubs to join, and like ideally it'd be nice if you like were consistent with it all 4 years, to kind of show like development, growth. It'd be even better if you were like the treasurer. But
like to show a story almost of like,
yeah, but you want to like, right, because you almost want to create a story when you think about it when you're going to college, like for your resume, and like also to help you with your essay and things of that nature. So like, and then on top, yes, clubs are great to help build, like, like you're right for Jacob, like, like build all the other interests, because through a club, there's no there's dedication and commitment, but there's no like pressure, like to get an A or something like that. And like, you can just enjoy yourself, and you might find like that robotics club that you might be like, hey, I'm actually pretty good, with hands-on stuff. Let me take a course next year.
That's kind of interesting because you bring up a good point about like the risk reward factor of like not having that stress of the test is like, and grades certainly changes their entire outlook. That's really why I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And then like usually sometimes the advisors are, obviously teaching something similar to like that in the building. So then they might like open up to trying different things. So clubs are so important because high school should not just be all about academics and necessarily building up your resume. It should be fun as well, making friends and connections and being involved.
There was this article, and I found it years ago, and it stuck with me because it was like, we joke around about like, Mike and I did at least when we were having kids, and we were like joked around about like, someday you're gonna have a whole family and they're all going to be in the couch, you're gonna play video games together, and it's gonna be amazing. and like, we always like I always like laugh because like Ethan too, he would like want to make all these video game ideas or like this idea for games. He would do it like in a little notebook, and he would like move his finger as if he was a character, and he'd be like, this is how the game works.
Love it.
You jump over here, you go over here. And then he'd like start interacting with us, like, hey, where do you go? I'm like, on your notebook? Cool, your finger's me. I love it. And I was looking into this, like, the video game industry and stuff, and I'm like, it shifts from like absolutely terrible to horrendous to terrible working hours to there's no jobs, no, there are jobs, layoffs, whatever. But the part that was interesting is I stumbled across this article from this guy who this was years ago. He used to work at World of Warcraft and Blizzard, and then went on to work at League of Legends, and then was working at something else. But one of the things that he wrote was really clear. He would write he would interact with the community on Twitter in ways that most businesses and games wouldn't. He would like tell people about what's going on, or like, what do you think about this change or this upcoming thing that's happening? and people really appreciated like the feedback. And one of the things he kind of got into is this long post of someone asked him like, hey, my kid wants to go into the video game industry. Like, how do I do that? And then he wrote this really interesting article that I think pertains to like a lot of fields, which was I think was like a good mentality towards high school. He said like, it's not, people just think because they're a fan of something that they would really want to be great at it, and they would be like this perfect employee or whatever else. And he said in interviews, those are the people that usually fall apart because they don't actually do well in the interview. They just have this passion for things. And he said the passion for things is actually not doing something humongous. It's actually completing a project and seeing something from point A to point B, or point Z, whatever, A to Z, whatever. And it's like some kids make like, you know, a little add-on, or they do like a level design, or they do like a thing for a game. They learn how to code one small thing, but actually seeing a project complete from the beginning to end and making something tangible in some way, whatever that career field is, matters. Because then when you're doing it, you could like walk the walk and show that you actually completed a project, which is like everybody has these great ideas and are all over the place, but they don't actually show completion. And then the other thing he thought was really interesting too was like, you love our product so much, but in an interview, what can you tell us we could do better, and actually give concrete examples of things where could you see us actually improving? So like being able to have a voice and an opinion and speak with examples and actually have something that you can bring to the table that shows that you could be like a member of a team was something that like, that's a very adult mentality. And it was just really cool to see like a person that got to his level that's doing this stuff give some advice for kids that are actually like thinking about all these like highfalutin ideas that might be something that could be a real interest, but to actually have a shot at whatever the thing is that they want to go into. So I just thought that was kind of cool.
No, yeah. You know, and that kind of like changes my mentality a little bit, because, you know, I always tell my kids, oh, do something you love or do something you really enjoy, you know, and that's a total different perspective on that, because it's like, yeah, you may enjoy it, but can you complete something within it, a project from A to Z, and still enjoy it? You know, like I really like that piece of advice. Yeah, I'm gonna use that.
That's something like we've tried to tell the kids, like, if you commit to something, you gotta stay with it. You know, like whether it's sports or like a club, like we signed up for the year, like, you know, like try to stick with it, because I think nowadays everyone is just so. You know, this generation, they don't have any attention span, you know, like, but like staying committed to something, you know, like, and to like work through it. And, you know, like you said, like this, to finish something from beginning to end, whether it's like, you know, a club or an activity, volunteering. Cause again, now to make it back to academics, is that when you go to a college interview, you want to be able to say, hey, look, I've went from this club. I started off freshman year. I'm now a treasurer or just a 4-year member of this club. Or when you get like college recommendation letters, you know, like you've built a relationship with a teacher perhaps, you know, or a guidance counselor, and you're able to have a good letter written how they've seen you grow through all your years, you know? So I think it's very apt. That's a really good article. I would like to actually read it myself.
Yeah. Maybe I'll find that in the show notes. It is old, but I think it's really pertinent to kind of what, you know, what we're talking about. Because you brought it up, Sarah, and Mike, I think you were thinking about this as also kind of with like kids getting a little bit older and stuff, is like creating that foundation and like building on it. It's kind of like a spiral. And the thing that because like Jacob, I think I brought the example up, like I know it's like, you know, another music example of Jacob, but one of the things that I think he's playing a high school pit orchestra, like fine. He got accepted to do that. He accepted into like being a member a little bit earlier than he should, because he's in 8th grade instead of being in high school, and he's playing in the musical in the pit. And he was kind of really happy about it. And I think like we were talking a little bit about him and trying to encourage him in some ways, and we were probably just broken records, whatever. But it was like, yeah, you got this amazing opportunity, but like, why do you think you got it? And then, you know, whatever. He's like, was thinking about it and stuff, and I think we just jumped in before he really gave an answer. But it was like I was kind of thinking, and I told him, like, you have all these interactions with like your orchestra teacher, with the other kids, you were doing plays, like you were doing stuff all along, that led to this opportunity. It wasn't because a week before you were like, hey, I like playing music in the pit. It was probably because they saw you and they knew that you were reliable. And then you had these positive interactions and conversations, and you show up and you go to Extra Help and you do those things. And I think like a lot of the thought process at their age, because their brains aren't fully developed, is like quick guttural reactions to things instead of like understanding the long game of like how you put in the work to get somewhere. But it's not just like this idea of like, because they're hardworking, they're willing to put the work in. I'm not going to act like they're not. But I think like they don't see that connection sometimes. Yeah.
I think that's true. And I think, again, like that's great. Like he's like so dedicated. And I think that's like wonderful to point out to any child is like, look, like, or even to like maybe point out like another child, like, like say like, hey, like this kid, Jacob, he did this because all the things he did, like you don't have to do music, but like, what is your thing,
Like the kid who's practicing basketball for like 3 hours a day.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, it's so great. He's just good. He's just good because that's why, like, he didn't just get good. He's been working his butt off for 3 hours a day, practicing his butt off. And you're just seeing the end results.
These major athletes, like, they don't just wake up one day and like they shoot the ball into the hoop and then they're like, I'm a star. No, that didn't happen like that. They, practice.
It's
like I'm like, why are you breaking a sports reference? This is bad.
I know. Okay. Let's get out of the sports section because I don't know what I'm saying.
But I think one of the things that I kind of I guess what maybe we realize is that like there's so many different teachers and advisors and you were mentioning clubs before. It feels like, I mean, I don't know how to communicate this to a child, but like they'll do it. It kind of seems to happen naturally, and seeing the value in finding like an adult figure that is kind of like their mentor in a way. That's not you, and growing and really kind of like finding a positive person in the building that they could kind of grow from, and they idolize a little bit as a grown up in a way, and not like, whatever, but they kind of see how they worked hard and they got this career, or they're doing this thing, or they tell stories about their hardships and how they kind of grew through it. And I think that's kind of an important thing to kind of see. Like you kind of get lucky when you find somebody like that. And I think like they don't maybe see that how much that helps them, because they're going to struggle. They're going to, they're going to fall apart a little bit. They're going to make mistakes, or they're going to have to learn from it. But I think that helps them develop like some resilience.
Developing resilience is, everyone needs to do that, and especially like in, high school, like that's the time also to take all those risks, like to take a different class, to, do a club alone. Like, oh God, that's scary.
Yeah. Oh, like go somewhere where your friends aren't going.
Right. Like do your own thing. Like just because you're, like everyone's doing the art club, like, but you're really into robotics, like do the robotics club. Like,
Yeah. And I totally agree. And the challenge, I think for me at least, is just like getting them to see that long game. It's so hard. Like when you tell them to do something or you show them how to do something, and the reason I do those things is so that they can like build that resilience for the long game, or to understand the long game. But their mentality at this level, at the elementary level, at the the younger level, is like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this, or and you're just like, yep. just hang in there, please. Going back to sports or whatever, Lucas has been playing baseball, and he's been having a challenging time hitting the ball. And we must have gone, to like 10 games, and he was striking out or walking, and he never got to hit the ball. I mean, well, he was up to bat, but he never hit the ball.
Right.
And this last game we went to, not only did he hit the ball, but he hit the ball every time at bat, and it went out into the outfield. And awesome. The smile on this kid's face, like that's not something you could teach, right? That's just like that, like his hard work, him realizing his hard work, keep going, not giving up, and just like, doing it was the best lesson that he could have not only taught himself, but I could have told him, as far as just like hang in there, like don't give up. And it was hard that whole time, all 10 games of him coming home crying, being upset, you know, and like, oh, I'm going to quit. Baseball sucks. Like all of this, you know, and just finally realizing that you could do it. And then we went to the next game and he hit it again. And like that fear is like gone now. I don't know what the fear was, but like he could hit the ball now and he sees it. He knows he could do it. He believes in himself. And like, that's what you're trying to like teach them. Like, be resilient. Don't give up. Keep hanging in there. Keep fighting, you know, because it's all going to help. It's all going to help and make you a better person for the bigger challenges when you get to high school, when you get past high school. And it's just tough getting them to realize that. But when they do, it feels like such a win for you as a parent, you know, like that smile was such a win for me, you know.
It's so hard to not jump in and save them from all those things.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's, you know, like, I mean, I think any, you know, high school, but like, I think any age, they have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah.
And like, it's just how you support them, how you show up for them. And, you know, like, but they have to, you know, like, that's amazing that he just kept going back, you know, like, cause how many times I would want to quit, you know, like, I don't know if I have.
It was like 10 games. And then
The
like the team
tenacity,
lost.
yeah.
The team lost like 30 to like 3 every time. It's like, why are we here? You know?
Right. Right. Like why am I here? Why am I going up to bat? Because like, I can't hit this ball. Like, so like, that's amazing that he, you know, he kept going, kept trying. And then he was able to actually literally see all that hard work happen.
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
We have like a saying in our house, and I know it's like silly. I feel like I'm about to Jay Guadi up in this piece.
Jay Guadi.
Jay Guadi it
is like a little. All it needs a little bit of success because it goes a long way. Yeah. And it's like sometimes like you just just watch him hang on a little bit longer, just to have that moment like Lucas did, of just like something going really well, and all of a sudden they're like, I did it once, I could do it again. And like, it doesn't matter how many Danny Tanner conversations you have with them on the couch, or, you know, you cue the music and, you know, but sometimes it's just like they got it. They have to be able to do it. And it's hard to get them to hold on. But like, sometimes that resilience is like, you see it and you're like, give it another shot. And you're like, give it another shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a parent too, it's just like, you question yourself. You're like, am I doing the right thing? By telling him to like, keep going, hold on, because you see all the struggle that he's going through, and your natural instinct is to protect him from all that stuff, right? But it's like he needs to experience that, or they need to experience that, you know, and it breaks your heart on one end, and you're just like praying to the gods of, please let him hit the ball, you know, please let this happen, you know. And so it was great. It was a great moment. And it's like, you just got to hang in there as a parent, as, you know, for your child to, you know, just to progress and move forward, you know?
But I think that's a big thing, like that healthy understanding of it, you know? But one of the things that I think that we were kind of talking about, we saw is kind of like what, you know, like one thing we talked about before, obviously, is not how everything should be transactional, right? You're not training things only because of the end game. You know, it's not all that. It should be because you have some, you know, you have some joy in it, you loving it. But like with all this stuff, like with the kids getting older and becoming independent, and we want them to be like emotionally regulated so that they're not always on like the brink of stress. So like there was a couple things that kind of came up about like the healthiest students versus, you know, kids that are kind of finding their way. And one of the things was really interesting in the list was being able to have boundaries. And I thought that was really interesting because like you think about, you know, we talk about it all the time as grownups and being adults, and even our episode a few weeks ago about, you know, working moms in America and like overwork, life balance. Those are things that as an adult, we wish we understood sooner, but like, we've got to like have it so that our kids understand it too. And like having boundaries and having downtime and getting sleep and valuing genuine friendships instead of just having a lot of people that are just like people you say hi to. You know, having those things seems like such an important thing to make those little adults grow up to be healthy adults.
Yes. No, it's so important. And that's why it's good to like be familiar with your guidance counselor or your social worker in the buildings. So that way they have they know, like there are times I was like, like, okay, like if I see Sophia stressed or something like that, I'm like, remember, you have your guidance counselor, go to them, if you need to chat or something like that, like to know that it's a safe place for you, like, and sometimes like you don't connect necessarily with your guidance counselor, but there's another guidance counselor or another social worker, and they're usually more than glad to like just sit and listen. So like, yeah, I think it's good to, that's so important, mental health, especially too in high school.
I think that's so smart because like instead of waiting for it to be like a problem or a need, you kind of develop that relationship early on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart. Something to like, do you know who your guidance counselor is? No, never met him. Like, oh, that's not good. No, but that's true. Cause I think like that's like, I think guidance counselors have also become a lot more important versus when we were younger. It was like, what do you need your guidance counselor for? You're falling apart. Even that, I feel like your guidance counselor is only like paperwork and getting to college or whatever.
Yeah, I think that was
or
it.
what courses am I taking next year?
Yeah, I only saw them like twice, I think.
Yeah, but
like,
then it's different. It's more of like
welcome to high
emotional
school
regulation.
And how we get you out of there.
Right.
Cool.
Or like there was such a stigma, I think, when we were younger, that you go to your guidance counselor, like, oh, what do they do now?
Yeah.
But I think it's different now. I think it's, because they're checking in, they care about your kids, and well, you said it. Obviously, I don't need to repeat it, but it seems like there's always going to be someone in there that your kid relates to. I think that's a good thing.
Does that ever make you guys jealous a little bit? I'm like, I want to be the person that everybody that my kids relate to. Like, there could be nobody else. It's just me.
Like you're almost like your kid comes home and you're like, I want to tell you about my top 5 favorite people in this world. Like when they were little, they make like a big poster for daddy and mommy, and all of a sudden they're like, number 1, my guidance counselor. Number 2,
the number 1.
and then daddy's number 17. No, you're like, well. No, but hey, look, I'm just happy there's someone, man. I don't,
no.
Yeah, listen, you want to be the person, but there are times that like, I'm like, oh wow, you told this parent about some thing, or you listen to their advice. I'm like, wow, it's great.
So good. I'm so glad. I haven't repeated that at all every day to you.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh, how original. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's great.
No, but you're like
the village.
You know what? At least you have one day a year where you could have a day where you could cook for everybody in your family at the barbecue.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, okay. So let's just so just for our listeners, we talked about a lot of things today. We talked about kids learning, emotional regulation, going into things a little differently, and having the mentality of not just collecting experiences that could go on a piece of paper. But I think that we did in our heads, we are planning for an episode next season that's specifically about building everything towards college in a way and how to kind of approach that. So we don't want to like let you think that this was kind of the mentality for this episode. This episode was all about this idea of like how to make it a good experience for high school. And then we'll do an episode next season that will be specifically about kind of like sort of a strategy, thinking about how to build the resume the kind of the best way, how to kind of build the right college transcript and go about things a few ways. So this is kind of like a good entry conversation into it. So we won't leave you hanging. We promise. We're going to get right into that next season without a doubt. And we already have that all planned out in a way. And I'm sure the conversations will swing all the way in different directions, but we will definitely have a chance to give some insight that I think that you at home are probably all kind of thinking. And I know that I am too. So we're going to swing on now. The question this week is, what are you nervous about if you're a kid in high school? What are you thinking about? What are the things that you think will be different? We'd love to hear from you guys. The info's in the show notes. You know what to do. So we're now going to shift over to the next part of the show. It is called Time to Unplug. This is where we talk about things that are going on outside of the children, because sometimes we just need to have something for ourselves or with our spouses. It gives us a chance to decompress, because you'll be a better we if you take care of me. So with that, Sarah D., what do you have going on?
Oh, all right, brother.
Oh, yeah? Oh, wait, I know that voice.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Got our dorky little 1980s childhood fix yesterday. We were watching Hulk, the Real American on Netflix documentary. Oh. It was so good. I have to say, I know he became a little more controversial towards the end of his career in life, But we were like, wow, he really was so complex as a human, you know.
Not just a caricature or a
yeah, like he was.
yeah.
There was so much more, and not to be like stereotypical, but like you think like a jock, a big bodybuilder type of dude, like there might be not much going on, but no, he was like a good dad, working hard, and and obviously like things kind of went sideways later on. But it was just like, he just seemed like just like a genuine person. And like, he really suffered physically, like, through all that work that he did just to entertain people. Wow. So it would just definitely watch it again. You might like the guy, hate the guy. I don't know, but it was definitely a good watch.
That's cool.
I like that.
You find good stuff. I like that.
Yeah. What about you, Levine?
Oh, well, this past Friday, I went to go see Mando vs. Grogu.
Wait, Mando vs. Grogu? They're fighting?
I know, I'm sorry. I got into the Hulk Hogan thing. I went to see The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters, and I was so excited because it was another Star Wars movie. Anything Star Wars, you're always excited to go see. If you're a big fan, anything in the theater, Star Wars. So I was so excited. I went with my son, and we were going to the snack counter, and because I'm like, I gotta go to Regal and check out like what cool popcorn tins that they have, because I want to collect it and be a collector. So I saw it, and they had this cool like Mando and Grogu popcorn tin, but then I'm like, how much is that? And they were like $90. I'm like, no way am I listen, I'm a huge fan, right? And I buy anything Star Wars, but I am not spending
90. Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was like 80 something and change, and I was like, I'm not spending that much on a popcorn tin. Are you crazy?
Sir, do you want to upgrade to a large?
Yeah.
Right.
So I was a little disappointed with that because I was like looking to get like, they had some cool ones before. Like they had this Jurassic Park one when I went to go see the new Jurassic Park movie. And it was just literally a square tin with like the Jurassic Park logo on it. And I was like looking for something like that, not like a $90 popcorn tin, but yeah. And then the movie itself was actually pretty good. Could it have been an episode on Disney Plus? Absolutely. But listen, it was Star Wars. I loved it. I was with my son. We had a good time, and it was cool experiencing Star Wars in the theater with my son too as well. So it was good times.
It's so wild. It's like a May movie, but it's Star Wars. But man, I don't know. I'm gonna probably see it too soon. But
you should. Man.
I'm like, it's like it's like that's like easily a full year of Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? It's about experiencing it and having fun and the joy.
Yeah, that's what it was all about. It's just like going to the theater, watching it in the big screen, and then being there with my son. But it was a good time. So what about you? What about you? What you up to?
All right. So part of it is an update. Part of it is an update for New Year's resolutions, baby. So I have been loving my 3D printer. You know why I love this podcast for you guys? Besides, it's like, therapy, but hanging out with you guys. And it's also inspiring us to actually get off our butts and follow through on things that we talk about.
Yes.
So I have been using my 3D printer a lot lately. I have a Bamboo Labs P1S, which is now, I guess, like a slightly older generation because now they've released like the 2 versions of all of their equipment, but it's still great. So what I really got into with it, which I absolutely love, is the multicolor stuff. So this is not really that new because like a lot of printers now have that. But what's really cool about it, and I don't really understand, I have to like get in and actually start making my own stuff, like designing my own stuff. But I think it's really, really cool, like how you can load this thing up with so there's a thing called the AMS, which is like a multicolor printer thing of multicolors or whatever. So you could load this thing up if you get the combination with 4 colors, which is really cool. But what's really interesting too is that Bamboo, I really like Bamboo because they have this app that like browses and peruses all different designs that people make. And as long as you're not trying to sell stuff, which I'm not, you can just take designs and make things, which is really neat. So you kind of like, you know, and really, really like well engineered, very thoughtful things. So I started to, I went RoboCop style, make it better, make it stronger, you know, redo. Yeah. And I'm trying to make my work area a little bit more snazzy, you know, a little more things. So I made so far I've made a headphone stand that it's like a little headphone thing that you plastic print or 3D printed like a screw, and the thing actually hold onto my desk. I can put my headphones on it, like wire management.
Ooh, cool.
And the next thing I'm gonna do, which is the next crazy thing, is people came up with this whole system of like a grid system that goes into your drawers, and then you could 3D print all these little like containers to hold stuff that lock into that design. So you're kind of making a whole organization system. And
that's right up your alley.
You may not know this. Sarah D might even know this about me, but Michael Haidt could use some organization in his life. So this will be a good thing. I think it's really cool. And I even made some like, you know, D&D multicolor characters. Maybe one for Mike Levine, little beholder guy. But this
that was really cool.
It's
really
so powerful. It's crazy, right? So you could really make some cool stuff. And what I love about it is just how if you think about a thing in your life, like a product or an item or a hobby that you're doing, typing that hobby or interest into the Bamboo software will help you kind of find stuff that relates. And like something as simple as even typing in like the actual device and like the brand and the item that it is, like even like, you know, a Stream Deck or whatever else it is, that people actually have taken the time to design things that are very specific to that one thing. And like I did one of those things during the lockdown when everybody was, you know, during COVID, where I made like the quote unquote IKEA desk that has like the two Alex drawers and then the tabletop that you get from the you know, the countertop IKEA thing. So people have figured out like the right thickness for that tabletop, so that when you add these little like additional things like wire management, it's specific to the thickness of that table. I think it's wild. So this is phase one, making a bunch of stuff. Phase two will actually be making something in the software that I make myself. I'm not there yet, but you know, maybe I'm gonna find a course online or something. But whatever I find, maybe that'll be my one more thing for a future date. But making some stuff. Made Sarah D a dumpling. Made a
yes, that was adorbs.
A very much not squishy dumpling, but a dumpling. All right. Well, I love the 3D printer. Gonna keep on rocking that. But I think we're just about out of time on this episode of Hey the Parents. It's been so much fun hanging out with Mike Levine, Sarah D, and getting a chance for Sarah D to walk us off the cliff a little bit as we prepare for our kids to make their way towards high school. We'd like to take a moment to thank our listeners, our supporters for donating to the show. If you want to help support this show as we keep making episodes like this one, we'd like to donate the show notes. And if you don't have means to do so, we always appreciate when you tell your friends, your family, other parents at orientation for high school, or even at the at Staples at midnight when you're picking up supplies. We don't know. Friends, your family at the podcast, we can reach more listeners. Maybe we learn from them. They can learn from us in this growing community. If you get a chance, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing with you next week at Hey the Parents, because every week it's an honest discussion about raising kids. Don't forget to hug your kids and charge yours Chromebooks. That's going to do it for me, for Mike, and for Sarah, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey the Parents, produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desvines, and me, Michael Haidt. I edit, mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you consider going to the shows and help support the podcast. Check the shows for social media information and contacts. We look forward to seeing you next time.